leukemia. He's diagnosed with leukemia on October 31st. It's been a long processing, but it's getting there. I'm a mother, I'm a grandmother, and a wife, and a sister, and I want to get better. My sister has been pushing and pushing me. Without her and my family, I don't know what I'd do.
The grace of God, somebody deciding, hey, let's do a bone marrow to see why she's so sick in the hospital. And you start talking to all the doctors, and you start hearing how long the hospital stay is, and you're going, oh my gosh, how are we even going to get through this? This is, your first 40 days have to be in the hospital.
I'd been having some really strange things crop up, like a severe pain in my jaw all of a sudden that would last all night. One time it was my eye that swole up for no reason. So I'd been to every ologist you could think of. I was starting to think I was crazy because I woke up one day and Valentine's Day, and I had a pain in about 4 inches of my lower leg. Only the 4 inches, not below, not above. Nonetheless, I called my doctor, and the nurse suggested I go to the ER as well. He's like, well, it looks like that this is leukemia. And I mean, time just kind of stops. And I couldn't even wrap my head around it.
I got sick. I caught pneumonia first. I took some antibiotics, got better, and then I started getting sick again. And my jawline just hurt so bad. And I crashed out, and then I woke up 2 hours later in pain. I just couldn't sleep the rest of the night. My grandfather came in and he checked my pulse, and he said that my pulse was thready, and then you add that with chest pain and the jaw pain, and they thought I was having a heart attack.
While they were in the emergency room, they did the chest x-rays and all kinds of things, and they were actually looking for a heart attack. At 10:34 that night, the doctor came in and said that he had leukemia. And they were going to do a bone marrow and wait on those results. His cancer had already penetrated his central nervous system and was going into his brain.
And when we talked to one of the doctors, she told my mother that if I had not come in, I had 36 hours.
His official diagnosis, once we got to MD Anderson, was T-cell ALL and lymphoma.
The day of the transplant, it's kind of uneventful. It's odd because they just come in with your little bag of blood, and that's your start of your new life.
I think the biggest challenge is education, really. We have to teach people about a whole new way of life. People think in terms of just getting better. There's a lot of new things to learn, and your body is not the same. You trade in leukemia for a different set of problems and circumstances sometimes.
I've had intestinal graft versus host disease, and I have actually had some hearing damage.
Literally his scalp, his hair fell out again from the GVHD, from his scalp all the way down to his toes.
My skin internally and externally it's tightening, so that affects mobility, and I'm having to have it treated. And the group is $5,000 per treatment, and now that's after insurance negotiation.
The care of a patient in the hospital for leukemia for their first 30 days easily can approach a $100,000 bill without blinking. The cost is staggering, really, and most patients can't afford even a tenth of it without help.
We were going to MD Anderson probably once a week at least. Gas bills alone, hotel bills. I was a dog bather at PetSmart part-time. And all of a sudden they told me I needed to have a transplant that was going to cost, what?
It's $1.2 million.
$1.2 million?
You have to change the way you eat. You have to change, your lifestyle completely, and that's expensive.
Yeah, there's a lot of good local organizations that people just don't know about, such as LeukemiaTX. They're a group that helps patients with leukemia. They provide funding, they provide information, they provide a support group for patients with leukemia, and they're local, and they help people who are here in town and around the state to help fight the battle.
We were fortunate enough to meet a social worker whom I said, who can help us? And so we sat together, and I drafted the letter for her, and she said, hey, you know, show some of her life. And I said, okay. She had beautiful jet black hair, and she looked down, and it was like a rug. And I said, okay, here we go. We're going to take a selfie. And I said, this is what we were before, and this is where we are now, but it doesn't matter because it's just hair.
Knowing that there was a place that is not only willing, but is intended to help people out who are in a situation to where they can't afford, when they can't do, that means more than most people think. You're looking at it as this is life. This is bringing back. This is letting you live. This is giving you a chance.
There's a lot of things that insurance doesn't cover. They don't cover all the medications. A lot of insurances won't cover temporary housing. They don't cover the food. They don't cover the gas. So there's just a lot of expenses that you're left with.
I had a good job, I had my savings, managed my money well, but that doesn't matter because the bills just started rolling in, and you know, when it came the time that checking your mail started to get scary, I got a check from LeukemiaTX. I think I had a bill that was a couple $1,000s, and I put that chunk, it felt so good to put that chunk down and say, okay, the rest, you know, we can do a payment plan for the rest. Not as scary, not as big as a monster.
I was behind on my insurance. First thing I did was pay my insurance. So that was a big relief. It was like, oh my God, God answered my prayers. I was real emotional because I didn't know where it was coming from. And it did take a stress out of me, and it was like, oh wow. I could get up and walk around and stuff and feel a little bit better.
You know, when we got the check, we had just received the news that we'd gotten the match. So there was hope there. And no matter what, it seemed like every time we were starting to run out of money, something would come like that.
What donors for LeukemiaTX ought to know is that every little bit helps, but helps in a big way for every person that it touches.
You're making such a blessing to someone's life without even knowing them. You just walk away knowing that the people that receive the support are so overwhelmed and feel so blessed by it.
I feel a little sense of guilt getting the money, but I use it and it helps me so much, and I just have to tell myself that someday I will be giving and not borrowing.
A drop in the bucket is the wrong way to describe it. This is like the light at the end of a tunnel.
I did have a lot of support, and I thank the Texas Leukemia.
Congratulations, LeukemiaTX, on your success in fighting leukemia through research and patient support for more than 40 years. Keep up the good work.
Congratulations to LeukemiaTX for over 40 years in fighting leukemia here in Texas through great patient aid and research. Thank you so much for all of your service here in Texas.
It has been an honor and a pleasure to work with LeukemiaTX, fantastic organization that keeps all the money they raise right within Texas to the patients who need it. They have low overhead, so all of the money gets to the patients and the people who really can use it to help fight leukemia.
Congratulations, LeukemiaTX, for your great success over the past 40-plus years as a dedicated leader in fighting leukemia through patient aid and research here in Texas. Keep up the great work.